Hey everyone, welcome back to the .NET Office. Today's video is about a major internet interruption that happened on 18th November 2025, when Cloudflare, one of the backbone companies of the internet, suffered a global outage. In this episode, we'll cover what Cloudflare is, what went wrong, what got affected, how it was fixed, and what lessons we should take away. If you rely on the internet, yes you do, then this is important. Let's dive in. Before we look at the outage, let's explain what Cloudflare actually does. Cloudflare is a US-based company founded in 2009 that provides a range of internet infrastructure services, content delivery network, DDoS protection, reverse proxying, security services, edge computing, DNS services, and more. According to statistics, Cloudflare supports around 20% of all websites globally, sometimes reported as about 19%. Because it handles so much invisible plumbing of the internet, routing traffic, accelerating websites, and protecting them from attacks, when Cloudflare has a problem, it can ripple across large parts of the web. As one cybersecurity expert put it, Cloudflare is a gatekeeper of the internet. So, when we talk about a Cloudflare outage, we're not just talking about one website going down. We're talking about a part of the internet's foundation. Here's the timeline of what occurred. On 18th November 2025, at approximately 11:20 UTC, Cloudflare's network began experiencing significant failures to deliver core network traffic, according to Cloudflare's own blog post. Users around the world began seeing error messages, those 500 series HTTP errors, when trying to access websites that rely on Cloudflare. Cloudflare initially suspected a large-scale DDoS, or distributed denial of service attack, but later identified the root cause differently. The root cause was a change to a database permission system, which triggered the generation of a large feature file within Cloudflare's bot management system. That file grew to double its expected size, and when it was propagated across Cloudflare's machines, the software that reads and handles that file hit its internal limits and crashed. Because many of Cloudflare's services, traffic routing, bot management, edge services, were impacted, it caused broad disruptions. Cloudflare reported that by around 14:30 UTC, core traffic was largely flowing again, and by later that day, the services were fully operational. So in summary, it wasn't an external cyber attack, but a software or operational issue within Cloudflare's infrastructure. Because so many websites and services rely on Cloudflare, the outage affected a wide range of platforms across sectors. Major platforms like ChatGPT by OpenAI and X, formerly Twitter, were affected, with users unable to access, log in, or load content. Other services, like the blogging site Letterboxd, the design tool Canva, streaming apps, and gaming services, also reported issues. Infrastructure and governmental services, for example, the UK's intelligence agency site MI5 and the UK financial regulator site, were impacted too. It was a global effect. It wasn't limited to one country or region, since users in Asia, Europe, and the Americas all reported issues. The visible symptoms were things like pages stuck loading, 500 internal server error messages, and complete inability to access services. Because many websites rely on Cloudflare for both content delivery and security, like bot management and DDoS protection, when that layer goes down, the websites either go offline or become extremely slow and unresponsive. Now, how did Cloudflare fix it? Once the root cause was identified, which was that oversized feature file in the bot management system, Cloudflare stopped the propagation of the large file and swapped it out for an earlier version that was within limits. Traffic started to return to normal around 2:30 UTC, though, some control plane services like the dashboard and APIs still had a bit of degraded performance for a while after. Cloudflare publicly stated that there was no evidence of malicious activity or any kind of external attack. It was totally an internal incident. They also committed to digging deeper and publishing a full post-mortem explaining exactly what went wrong and how to prevent it in the future. So, the incident was contained and services were restored, but honestly, the recovery still needed a lot of careful monitoring because of how many dependencies were involved. Why should we all care about this? And what lessons can we draw here? First up, there's the single vendor or central dependency risk. Like I mentioned earlier, Cloudflare supports around 1/5 of all web traffic, so when it fails, a ton of services go down at the same time. This really shows us how the internet is more fragile than we usually assume. Then, there's the fact that internal operational risk can actually trump the risk of an external attack. A lot of people assume that huge internet outages are due to hackers, but here it was just a routine configuration change and a software limit being hit. That means we need to pay attention to how complex these systems really are and how even small mistakes can snowball. Also, there's the importance of monitoring and redundancy. If your business or website relies on Cloudflare or similar providers, it's a good reminder to have fallback mechanisms, backup providers, or even a multi-cloud strategy. For users, when you hit an outage, you usually just refresh, click around, maybe curse a bit, but this shows how wide the impact can be. Apps you use for work, play, or communication could just vanish unexpectedly. Transparency and trust matter too. Cloudflare publicly acknowledged what happened, apologized, and promised a full report. That's super important for maintaining trust in this space. And whether you're a user or a content creator, remember that even if your local internet seems fine, the upstream infrastructure totally matters. And as a business owner, you've got to assume things will go wrong, so have those fallback plans ready. Here are some practical tips if you or your service is affected by this kind of outage, or if you just want to be prepared ahead of time. First, check status pages, like Cloudflare's own status page, the one for the service you're trying to reach, or even outage tracker sites. Next, try clearing your cache or switching networks. Sometimes the issue is regional or path-based, so using a different network or a VPN might help, at least temporarily. Also, use fallback services. If you rely on just one provider for web hosting, CDN, or security, it's worth considering a secondary provider or backup plan. Communication is key too. If you run a website or a service, posting a public-facing message, even if it's just on social media, really helps maintain trust with your audience or customers. And finally, document and review. After an outage, look back at what failed and how you responded. This kind of review becomes a crucial part of your resilience strategy going forward. Alright, that pretty much covers the outage of Cloudflare on 18th November 2025. What caused it, what got affected, how it was fixed, and yeah, what we can all learn from it. Internet infrastructure might seem invisible, but when it blinks, honestly, everything downstream feels it. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the like button, subscribe for more tech deep dives, and let me know in the comments. Were you impacted by this outage? Which service kicked you offline first? I'll catch you in the next video. Stay online. Thanks for watching and see you next time.